Joining me right now for a breakdown, Ashley Webster and Dan Mitchell from the Cato Institute. Good to have both you guys here. Dan, I'll start with you because I know the libertarian in you probably doesn't think this is quite enough, but I got to say, you're looking at a start.
It is a start, and if we can somehow get rid of subsidies for the National Endowment for the Arts and cut back on some of these international bureaucracies, I'll have a nice warm spot in my heart for what's going on. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter even if we zero out a lot of these wasteful domestic programs that are part of the swamp in Washington. If we don't ultimately deal with the entitlement programs, we're going to have a problem. And, oh, by the way, I wish Trump was cutting these programs to save money for taxpayers and not simply reallocating it to the Pentagon.
All right, but I want to talk about the good here for just a moment, because we have been looking at budgets that, frankly, have swollen for some of these pet projects of the previous administration, while simultaneously, Ashley Webster, seeing that the budget for things like security, the Pentagon, actually decreased. So this is about to reverse all of that. And, I think if you're concerned about security, as we should be, then this perhaps is a step in the right direction.
Well, the only three departments here that get a boost is Homeland Security, Defense, and Veterans Affairs. Now, Veterans Affairs have been long overdue some help monetarily. But I like these cuts. I really do. To the point of entitlements, that is critical as well. But when you look at it first blush, EPA, $2.6 billion cut. The State Department, $11 billion. That's 31%, 29%, respectively. It's really quite remarkable. But the federal budget has been bloated for a long time. Finally, we have someone who's going to come in here and say, this is what we're going to do. It's a good start.
Actually, you think about his background as a business owner, the kinds of choices he's had to make to see his company become successful. Those are choices that, frankly, government officials, they never have to make. And they only want to keep spending. It's easy, right, when you're spending other people's money. So now you got a guy in there who's like, we can do this differently. We can apply some discipline. My question to you is, how is this going to go over with all these Congress people?
Well, it's not going to go well, and you've already kind of said not only from the Democrats you have opposition, but you have it from the GOP as well. Even from those who say it doesn't go far enough. Everyone has their pet projects. That's the problem in Washington. Everyone has their little add-ons. They're going to get the bridges built and so on and so on. It's going to take a lot of fiscal discipline that we've yet to see in Washington, D.C. for a long, long time. Can Donald Trump be the guy? Paul Ryan described him as a Ronald Reagan in his ability to schmooze and compromise. Well, he's going to have to work extra hard to get enough people on board to get these kinds of cuts put through.
Maybe I'm just an optimist, but in some ways, Dan, I think that he'll certainly have to perform the art of the deal, so to speak, with these members of Congress. But I think if there's anyone who can do it, he's certainly well suited to it. The other thing he has going for him, Dan, is the fact that he is so public about all of this. In other words, he'll get out there, and if a particular congressperson in a particular district is insistent on, keeping that EPA budget for something, he's going to call them out in a big way, and that might not be so good for the congressman. In other words, I'm talking about the bully pulpit here. How much could that pay off?
It'll pay off if he really uses it for the right reason. I mean, yes, it's good that he has the carrot of schmoozing, but he needs the stick of threatening their reelection. He needs to expose the fact that a lot of this so-called domestic discretionary spending, this is sort of the fuel that keeps the swamp of Washington going. You have all these former staffers on Capitol Hill and members who have become lobbyists. They get these contracts to get money out of these appropriated accounts. The current members love dispensing this money in exchange for campaign contributions. The whole thing is so incredibly corrupt, mostly for programs that shouldn't even exist in Washington in the first place. So Trump has made a great first start, but to get this over the finish line, given the inherent corruptness of Washington, is going to take a lot of bullying from that bully pulpit.
Well, I'll tell you, he's got the public on his side when it comes to these particular issues. They don't like the idea of Washington spending their money.